Yeehaw! Welcome to Auspol Explained. I'm your host David, and today I'm going to talk about donkey voting. It gets brought up every single election, so what is it? It's a pretty simple concept, but I've seen quite a few misconceptions about it circulating in the misinformation soup that is the internet. So, here's what it is and also what it isn't. Australia, if you're unaware, uses preferential voting, where voters rank candidates by numbering them in the order they like the most to the least. However, not everyone realizes the significance of voting and therefore just doesn't come up with a list of preferences and donkey votes instead. Basically, donkey voting is when someone just fills in their ballot from start to finish in the order it's presented to them and they don't care who gets their vote. So for the House of Representatives, that means someone would fill in the ballot 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. from top to bottom, and also the same idea for the Senate but left to right. People can do this out of protest, apathy, or just a misunderstanding of how voting works. A common misconception is that donkey votes don't count. They absolutely do. A donkey vote is a formal vote. An informal vote is when you've filled in the ballot incorrectly and it can't be counted. So, if you write insufficient preferences. But a donkey vote is a usable vote because it has enough preferences to be counted. There's also no way to distinguish between a donkey vote and someone who just by chance genuinely wants to preference the candidates from top to bottom or left to right. What if it just so happens to work out that way? It would be unfair to throw those in the nah, that ones don't count pile. So donkey votes are treated like any other formal vote. So if you plan on donkey voting as a protest, then spoilers, no one is noticing or recording it as a protest. They're recording it as you going, yep, I like that. So, make a placard like the rest of us. I've also seen people say that a donkey vote just gets recorded as a vote for whoever is already in power. That's not true. Who a donkey vote goes to depends entirely on the order of the ballot, because that's how donkey voting works. Where candidates appear on the ballot is randomized, meaning whoever gets the very first spot gets a little boost in votes as a result. Now, what impact that has is hard to say because how many people donkey vote is really difficult to estimate. Again, it's not treated differently to a regular vote. It is a formal vote. I've seen an estimate of 1 to 2% of votes thrown around. The Wikipedia citation, by the way, for that number is from a study from 1968, which if you actually read says that donkey voting had declined from an estimate of 3% a few elections prior, and in one election in the 60s was an estimated less than 1%. But basically it varies and it's not estimated to be very high, which means that it's not likely to change the outcome of an election. But if it is a very tight race, then the donkey vote might just be enough to help someone win. So don't do it. Come on, seriously, there are a lot of differences between the parties and independents, and you should not leave something so powerful as your vote up to random chance. At the very least, come up with some idea of who you think deserves your first preference and go from there, okay? As someone who spent a lot of time learning about Parliament and history, I can tell you that your vote actually does matter, and it's something you should not take it for granted. Cynicism simply does not benefit you in any way. Voting does. Speaking of history, fun fact, ballots originally weren't randomized but ordered alphabetically, so it was a strategic advantage to have your surname early on in the alphabet because then you'd get a slight boost thanks to the donkey votes. That was a real thing, I'm not joking. In 1937, Labour put forward 4 candidates in New South Wales for the Senate. Their last names were Amor, Armstrong, Arthur, and Ashley. They all won. The government then went, whoa, that seems like a problem, and a few years later updated the Electoral Act so that Senate ballots were randomized instead of alphabetical. And then it took them until 1983 to do the same for the House of Representatives ballot. Why? Which means you had over 40 years of your chances of election being slightly better if your last name happened to be Aaron. While Australia has managed to make many improvements to our electoral system over time, the most effective way for us to improve it is if for voters to actually do a little bit of research ahead of time and make informed decisions. So hey, don't just vote for someone because the name starts with A or because their name appears at the start of the ballot. Neither of those are really criteria that you can judge a person on. So go to the AEC website, aec.gov.au, find your candidates, find their websites, find their policies, judge them. Judge them so hard that you choose which one you want to have a job and which ones you don't want to have a job. That's what it is. Being a politician is a job. Got it? Come on, let's do it. And there you have it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit about donkey voting and also plan not to donkey vote. Just simply don't do it. And don't forget to share, subscribe, comment down below what you would like to learn about next. And also thank you so much to my supporters on Patreon who help give me a little bit of support in the monetary sense. I appreciate it immensely. Anyway, that's all from me. Thank you so much. I'll see you at the polls. Simply just don't donkey dong Donkey Kong.